So you started your new role just a few weeks into this pandemic, and onboarding can be difficult in the best of times. So why don't you tell our viewers what it was like to join and lead an organization when the world was shut down? How did you tackle that?
So really interesting. So I'm hearing a lot now because obviously started virtually. Really didn't get the chance to be in an office. I was fortunate enough during my announcement of my appointment to the role in February. I got to go in once and kind of did a meet and greet with the staff. So that was really nice. So at least got to see some people in 3D. But really going in right away virtually was a really interesting time. I think if you look back, some people said, was that a good thing? Was it a bad thing? And I actually think it actually was a good thing for me. One of the things that I really took advantage of with the whole virtual aspect was I really had more meetings with my executive team to really understand what was going on with the organization, but we also had some pressing issues to deal with as well, right? But what I did was that I really tried to do internal engagement and took this virtual aspect to my advantage. I think, obviously you get to meet people when you're in the office, there's more casual conversations, but I really started having more deliberate meetings, not only internally, but externally. I think something that would have maybe taken a year to do in terms of getting to know the community, I did try to do it within the first 3 to 4 months. So one of the things I really wanted to do when I first joined was obviously travel around, meet people in communities. Obviously, we couldn't do that. So I really took advantage of Zoom and actually got to meet people, within hours of each other, as well as grouping people from across the country where they potentially never have met before, but they met virtually. So this really allowed me to really right away, right off the bat, connect with the community, both internally and externally, and not only nationally, but internationally. I think that was the big difference with COVID, and really taking advantage of that.
Oh, Karen, that sounds excellent. And I would imagine that community spans well beyond only Parkinson Canada staff, as well as the folks that you support as an organization and other partner organizations around the world, right?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that Parkinson's is not just here in Canada. Parkinson's is worldwide. And so there's a lot of other not-for-profits that exist outside of Canada. So really got to meet some of the leaders in the various countries and took advantage of that. And we continue to do that. So typically there may be an annual meeting that you could all come to, but now that we don't have that possibility, we actually are more deliberate and meeting maybe even half an hour to an hour and just hearing what people are doing, bouncing ideas off each other. So I think that's really important right now.
That's excellent. Thank you. So how has the pandemic affected the broader team nationally and the way that you work as an organization?
Yeah, so in terms of the broader team working together and how we come together and how we haven't been able to really come together. So as an organization that supports the community, there's a lot of people who rely on the idea of community groups coming together in person. Obviously, that was not possible. We really had to pivot quickly so that people living with Parkinson's could feel supported. Obviously, there's the Zoom aspect where we tried to support people as much as possible. But I think the really interesting thing, again, is that COVID has brought down borders. It really has brought down all the barriers that may have existed in the organization, but also, as I said, nationally and internationally. So one of the things that I think COVID has also really brought forward to people is the idea of being more agile, innovation, and creativity. Yeah. So taking all that together, it was really important for us as an organization to think about what can we now offer people living with Parkinson's? How do we support them? And at the same time, with a reduced staff structure due to COVID, bringing down revenues, we really had to think about how many people we could keep on so that we can ensure that we're always supporting people living with Parkinson's. We really are starting to look at the partnership collaboration model. We can't necessarily do it all on our own. And so COVID has really brought this idea of partnerships together, how we can leverage what people are already doing and accessing it where normally it may have only been in one community. So now how can we offer it across the country or even internationally? So really thinking about collaboration, innovation, and creativity. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic to hear. And in fact, it segues beautifully into my next question, and really the topic being, pandemic inspired innovation, as we're calling it. Most certainly also a common theme in conversations on a weekly basis. And you've alluded to a few of those elements earlier. But so tell me, from a leadership and culture perspective, what has emerged during this pandemic that you would want to hang on to in a post-pandemic world? And perhaps what might you not want to continue, doing post-pandemic?
Right. Well, first and foremost, I think the big thing that the pandemic has brought forward for all of us, not only my organization, but everywhere, is it's people first, right?
Mm-hmm.
We really got to think about your staff, how people are feeling, and lead from that perspective, right? So you might have policies, procedures in place that really aren't conducive to what COVID has brought forward. We were very much an organization that was show up at the office, right? Obviously, COVID, you couldn't do that. So our policies weren't, really in tune with that. So really tweaking it so that people felt that they were brought forward first, right? Safety, flexibility, because let's be honest, as nice as it is to work at home, we have different pressures when we do work at home. So how do we ensure that staff are feeling supported in that aspect as well? I think moving forward, if touching upon what you said, what would we keep and not keep? I think we're learning a lot about the ability to work from home. I think as much as it's great to say we could get rid of offices and the cost there, I just don't think we as an organization prepared to completely get rid of our offices. I still think we need touch points. It doesn't mean we have to go in every day, but the ability to come together still is really important. So we've developed new procedures and policies for that, but also the technology piece, the digital piece. So internally, we're transforming that so that we can better support the external community, so that they're not just relying on a person all the time, but we have tools and gadgets and stuff to really support people moving forward. But the second piece, not only is it people first, we learned that we can be completely agile and resilient.
Mm-hmm.
And I think taking that and using it in whatever we do moving forward. So we came up with a new strategic plan within the first 4 to 5 months of me leading the organization, which could be a good thing or bad thing for my team. Our board is excited and sharing with the community. I do believe the community is excited as well, because we had the opportunity during COVID to really engage the community on the strategic plan. So that was that piece of that agility to just go out into the community and say, okay, we're doing this. We want to hear from you. And that creativity of, we can't come together in person to do this, but we can do it in other ways. And so for me, it's that continuous way of looking at how we don't have to be stuck in the same model, because not everything is going to work. And what we've learned in Parkinson's, and this is something we have to really think about as an organization as well, is not one treatment or one support mechanism is going to support that same person with Parkinson's. Everyone is living differently. And so we really, really got to think about, as us as an organization, we can't just do it one way. And so that agility, the creativity and innovation is going to be very important moving forward.
It's your first CEO gig, and the timing of that was probably suboptimal. So really, for our viewers who are starting their new and first CEO roles, what one bit of advice would you give them, and helping them with their onboarding?
That's a really good question, John. And one of the things I've thought about is, like, people have asked me, it must be really tough. It's your new CEO, new role. And one of the things I say is, I don't know any different.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, just go in, don't be scared of anything. Just tackle it how you would normally tackle anything that you would put yourself into. So take all your experiences and move it forward, and don't be scared is what I can say. The other piece is, just be yourself. I think every time you are yourself, you will succeed in whatever you do.
I think it's great advice, and thank you for that, Karen. Well, look, this has been a really fascinating conversation, and I really appreciated your insights. I suspect that our viewers will pull many of those insights away as well, that they can apply to their day-to-day work. So thank you. Sincerely, thank you for your time this morning. I'm glad to hear that your new role is going well. I'm not the slightest bit surprised to hear that either. And thanks to those of you who tuned in today. If you are interested in talking leadership with Boyden or in participating in these types of conversations, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. Thank you so much.